What's up, guys? Good to be back. Apologies for the brief absence, but here I am, Sather HQ, ready to put in some work. And in this video here today on Sunday, January 20th, we'll be discussing Trump's border wall announcement that he made yesterday, some hidden meetings in a tweet by Donna Brazile, and Bush's pizza delivery to the Secret Service agents. That was weird. We'll talk GMO news, vaccine news, some stuff in regards to UFOs, that secret government program run by the DIA. Yeah, we'll talk that. And then CERN, a new super collider in the plans by CERN over there in Switzerland. So, a couple of things, though, to begin. Number one, interview mentions. So, there's a couple of interviews that I did this last week and a couple that I have coming up that I want to tell you about. So, last Thursday, I was on the War Drummer's channel. Shout out to the War Drummer. He's a cool dude. And then on Friday, I was on with Shady Groove and In the Matrix. In the Matrix. Not a reptile. That's just how he spells his name. 3 X's. On his channel. I'll go ahead and link those up in the cards or link in the description if you want to go watch them. And then next week, I'm going to be on Quite Frankly's podcast. Very excited for that. Always a good conversation with him. And then I'll be on Dave from the X22 Report. I'll be interviewing with him next week, and he'll put that up on his Spotlight channel. So, a couple I've done, a couple coming up. Mark those on your calendar. And then second, shout out to a sponsor of this channel, Noble Gold Investments. If you don't have some of your money invested in precious metals, whether it's in your investment fund or you're just stocking up on their sweet commemorative coins they have, I would highly suggest you do it. Gold, silver, rates are dramatically increasing. Palladium, even at an all-time high. That's one a lot of people haven't heard of, palladium. So look at investing your money. Noble Gold can help you. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Okay, guys, so getting into business here, let's talk Donald Trump offering up an immigration compromise to end the partial shutdown. Now, I watched this yesterday. I was in the bath watching this on my phone, and Donald Trump basically is trying to compromise as much as he can with the other side, but still get this wall funded, right? So Nancy Pelosi, I saw her put out an official statement even before Donald Trump said anything during his speech. But Pelosi was basically saying, we need this, we need extra border agents, we need extra technology, this. Trump goes up, gives his speech. He lists off all the exact things that the opposition is wanting. More border agents, money for advanced technology, money to speed legal immigrants through, all this stuff. But then there's still a border wall. We still want 300 miles of wall. That's all Trump is asking for, and yet the opposition is still denying. So, nevertheless, we still have theater going on in my eyes, and I think this is going to be coming down to a national emergency. But Anons didn't know that. Us Anons definitely didn't know that. Down to a national emergency, and I think we might see that within, I give it a week. We're supposed to have a vote on this new bill to end the shutdown and to get this interim immigration packaged through this week. I think those talks will fail. Me personally, I don't expect them to succeed, and I expect that national emergency to be probably next week. Within the next couple. And moving on into talking about the hidden meanings. So this is one thing that was very odd. Donna Brazile here putting out a tweet in the middle of the night from, of course, BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed failing lately. But it says here, R.I.P. Boo. The world's cutest dog has died. Weird. World's cutest dog. And on Donna Brazile's account, again, it was very out of the ordinary. Unusual for this to be tweeted. Now, remember, when HW died, just about a week or two before that, James Comey made a tweet about his dog dying. And as per Q, every dog has its day, right? So by looking at their tweets, when they post about dogs dying, world's cutest dog, or what they claim to be their own personal dog, hidden meaning that one of their friends passed away, a lot of people are looking at this and speculating that this could mean that RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, is finally out of her body, we could say. And this is the way they signal to all their friends within the deep state that that has happened. So that looked like to be the case with HW. Looks like this is the case now. I think RBG has passed away, and they have no idea how to tell the world. On January 29th, we do have Trump's State of the Union address, which looks like is still going forward. So they're probably going to have to tell the world by then. So next couple weeks are going to be interesting. Yay. And now let's also talk about George W. Bush and his antics, which could have double meanings. So George W. Bush delivers pizzas to Secret Service detail, making a rare political statement. And that's true, rare political statement. George W. Bush does not say much. His family doesn't do much. Well, his dad passed away, but he doesn't do much. And George W. Bush going, again, out of the ordinary to deliver pizzas to Secret Service agents. Now, couple of things with this. Again, hidden meanings. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Kevin Spacey delivering pizza to the paparazzi? Very random. Now we have Bush here delivering pizza to the Secret Service. One theory I saw on Twitter about this is that somebody said delivering pizzas in the public eye is their way of basically stating that they're flipping or that they want to make peace. It's like they're white flags, essentially, delivering pizzas in the public eye. Kevin Spacey did it, remember? And with Kevin Spacey's video, a lot of people were suggesting that Kevin Spacey was actually talking to the deep state, not the general public, but in that video he made, he put out, he was talking to the deep state and basically saying that, you know, I'm thinking about talking, I'm thinking about turning all you guys. If you looked at the cup that was in that video, that cup was a quote from the Queen, the crown. It's as if that was his message. That was his way of saying, this is to you guys, not the general public. George Bush right here. Remember at H.W. Bush's funeral, George Bush, the look on his face, I mean, Jeb Bush was like in shock. Laura Bush was disgusted in that little event that happened. And George Bush looked like he was in shame, like he had his head down, looking at the ground. People's ideas then was that George Bush sold him out. He was talking. Could this be another piece of evidence we have? Him delivering pizzas, basically saying that I'm turning, I'm giving up, I'm waving the white flag. And what's interesting is that these Secret Service agents, I think this guy, these were the same folks that were behind George Bush at George H.W. Bush's funeral a couple of months ago. So again, very weird. Very weird. And we have multiple dots to connect, looking at Spacey's actions delivering pizza, looking at Bush's actions delivering pizza. Maybe some hidden meanings behind all of this. It's really fun. It's really fun once you begin to see how it all operates behind the scenes and you get an idea of how they communicate with each other, learn the comms, learn the communications. Then you can begin to analyze all these things and pick them apart and see what they might be saying to each other. But Donna Brazil's tweet, RBG might be dead. George Bush might be talking, might be waving a white flag, wanting to give in, who knows. But let's move on to some GMO news. So I saw this article in the New York Times a few days ago. New York Times, of course, I just can't stand them. But it says here, opposed to GMOs, how much do you know about them? And the caption says, people who are the most extremely opposed to genetically modified organisms tend to know the least about them, a new study found. Okay. Couple of things about this. Number one, it's the New York Times. So of course it's probably going to suck or just have amazingly twisted context to it. Number two, people who are the most extremely opposed to GMOs tend to know the least about them? Shoot, talk about backwards world. A new study, you know studies can be easily fudged, right? Statistics can be easily altered just a little bit to say really whatever you want. Scientists can be paid off to do these things. You know, oftentimes, if scientists don't do the particular study that they've been tasked to do with the university or the organization they work for, the scientists get canned. The study's going to happen whether the scientists are there or not. They'll just find whatever scientist is up to get paid off to do the study, you see? So don't believe every study you read. Don't believe every poll you hear. And right here, extremely opposed to GMO foods know the least. In fact, I'm going to drop a documentary. It's a very good documentary about genetically engineered foods called Genetic Roulette. It'll be down in the description. Might make a little card pop up. Genetic Roulette has at least like 30 to 40 scientists, PhDs, MDs, legitimate researchers, legitimate scientists, if you want to go by authoritative definition of a scientist being a PhD. A lot of PhDs in this documentary, all talking about how genetically engineered food is incredibly harmful for you. Harmful for your gut lining, causing allergies. They lead to all sorts of neurodevelopmental dysfunction, genetic changes, terrible stuff. Go take it from the scientists themselves. I'm not going to trust the New York Times. And on the same topic of GMOs here, good news on GMOs. The weed killer Roundup has been banned in France after a court ruling. So a court in France revoked the license of Bayer/Monsanto, same company now, of course, but Bayer Monsanto, to sell glyphosate-containing products, Roundup being one. Great news. Great news. So some good stuff coming by way out of Europe, out of France. Been a lot of tumultuous stuff going on over there lately, but good news coming out of France. And can we please get Roundup revoked here in America? That would save a lot of lives. Save a lot of lives, help us out quite a bit. Although, good news is since that hemp bill got passed, a lot of these farmers are going to have options now of lucrative crops that they can work to farm. If they want to give up GMO corn and soy and wake up to a much better crop, much more healthier crop to farm, they can do hemp. But, man, Roundup, we need to get that stuff out of our food. And now on to vaccines. So The Economist here, before we move on with this headline, The Economist, remember, Rothschild owned. The Rothschilds have a major stake in The Economist. They're saying here, vaccine researchers are preparing for disease X, and they hope to be able to create new vaccines in just 4 months. Wow, okay. We're not done with the World Health Organization here quite yet. We've got some very bad news coming from them, but at least coming from The Economist here, vaccine researchers are preparing for disease X. They don't even know what disease it is, but they're already trying to put that fear propaganda out into the public. This new disease that they're probably creating in a laboratory right now, waiting to secretly release to the public. But this new disease that we've got to watch out for because there's going to be some pandemic, you see? They're already creating the problem in the minds of the people. And then the solution that they want to create to bring onto the populace is vaccines that they're already telling you they want to create them in just 4 months. Are you kidding me? Not only do I not want vaccines, but if you're going to make a vaccine, at least test it. But they're literally telling you here that, oh yeah, there's going to be this big new disease and we're making vaccines for it. I mean, it's just ridiculous here. So it's called problem, reaction, solution, folks. The Hegelian dialectic. They prime you with a problem. They tell you what the problem's going to be before it's even created. And they already have a solution planned when they get the reaction they want from you. They scare you with vaccine propaganda like this, disease propaganda, so you'll be clamoring for the solution. We want it. Give it to us. Give us the vaccines. And then they have the vaccines already ready to roll out. And apparently here, created in just 4 months. Very scary, fear-inducing propaganda right here. And not just this, but like I said, the World Health Organization. World Health Organization recently saying in the past few days, people choosing not to vaccinate is now a global health threat. Backwards world. Backwards world again right here. People choosing not to vaccinate is now a global health threat. No. Other way around. The people who vaccinate are the global health threat. They're a threat to themselves, first of all, because when you inject aluminum and mercury and whatever DNA, peanut oil, egg DNA, aborted fetal tissue DNA into your body, what do you expect? What do you expect? You expect disease. You expect issues from that. And then on a mass scale, not just individually, but when you're toxifying yourself, when you're lowering your immune system and your nervous system with those injections, well, that's going to be a global health threat because when you have a bunch of sick people walking around, that's what makes these outbreaks happen. There's been a lot of outbreaks I've been seeing lately, outbreaks of measles and things like that. Why do the outbreaks occur? People with low immune systems. What do vaccines actually do? They lower your immune system by definition. And the toxins in there do that as well. Not just for a little bit, but in the long run, right? So these outbreaks that are occurring, it's because of, in large part, vaccines, and so much other things. GMO foods, just bad lifestyles we lead, making us susceptible to disease. So all these things play a part, guys. All these things, and vaccines especially. Avoid it, reject it. Don't let anybody tell you it's something that you need to get or that you need to get your son or daughter. Not necessary. Now moving on, going from Big Pharma here into UFOs. Good jump, good segue there. But I've seen a lot of, speaking of propaganda, a lot of twisted context in the media in regards to UFOs lately. A lot of stories, actually, that have been seeded into the mainstream trying to prep us for something or another. We'll talk about what they're trying to prep us for in a minute here. But here's one of those stories that I saw come out. Have aliens found us? In the New Yorker here. A Harvard astronomer on the mysterious interstellar object Oumuamua. This story just not going away, this big floating space rock Oumuamua. So a Harvard astronomer recently suggesting that this is some sort of craft, object, whatever the case is, sent here by some ET species. Now, this is the chair of Harvard's astronomy department. He is the one really questioning this object and where it came from and things of the like. But Harvard, right? When I see Harvard or Yale or especially any Ivy League university, but really many top, we could say mainstream, deep state sponsored even universities, I'm definitely going to question their angle and their motive for bringing out this sort of information. So why is Harvard, and again, Harvard, Yale, those institutions lately, they've been saying a lot of weird things. They've been trying to roll out geoengineering programs, say that we need them. They've been trying to, they're instrumental in vaccine research and all sorts of things. So these are deep state education institutions, right? What is their motive in bringing forth information on interstellar objects, on the extraterrestrial phenomenon, right? Again, they're seeding us. They want people to start thinking of ETs, but then again, how are they going to spin the context of it? What's the bait and switch they're going to be pulling for? And again, we see some seeding, some very light. These things they're talking about, it's disclosure light, diet disclosure, right? It's nothing too dramatic. They're not talking about trillions of dollars missing or the technologies in the black projects or the ET cover-up that's gone on for decades. It's just seeding. They're seeding the disclosure here with Oumuamua. They're also seeding it with Saturn's moon Titan. So Fox News and a lot of other mainstream media outlets reporting on Saturn's moon Titan the past couple of days. Rain spotted on Titan, which may be home to alien life. You like that maybe home to alien life they put in there to try to just dust it, cap it off with. But, okay, NASA, and again, smokescreen organization with NASA, very little amount of, they give us a lot of good data, but they don't put the data together for us, and there's a lot of information NASA doesn't say. ET cover-up, secret space programs, things they don't talk about. So why is NASA trying to prep us? Why are they trying to season just a tad bit of disclosure here? And again, seeding the consciousness. So that's what a lot of stories are doing lately. Saturn's moon Titan, Oumuamua, just little things they're putting out in the mainstream domain. And then this is the biggie that we want to watch out for. So a rash of mainstream media articles. I saw this in Futurism. I saw this on Vice. I saw this, they get their news wires and they get told to report. So there's a much deeper agenda as to why this is coming out now. It's very timely. They've been prepping our minds with light articles seeding about alien life the past couple of weeks, and then they've been trying to bring this out. So it says the U.S. secretly funded research on UFOs, wormholes, and warp drives. Documents show that the military has investigated a lot of fringe science. And this has everything to do with the Department of Defense program called ATIP, the AATIP, that was brought to light in 2017 by the New York Times and the Washington Post. And again, those organizations, New York Times and the Washington Post, basically the CIA is bringing you these disclosures. So what is the angle here? What's the motive? And these disclosures, this ATIP program that was ran by the DIA from 2007 to 2012 to the tune of $22 million, not trillion, $22 million. And it was started by Harry Reid, The contractor that got most of this money was Bigelow Aerospace. And of course, you've got Tom DeLonge and John Podesta's fingerprints all over these disclosures as well. So a lot of questionable people involved. Definitely a questionable disclosure scenario. Here's a couple of things about it. Was it actually secret? Well, yeah, it was secret, but it was never actually classified. This program, this ATIP DIA program, was never classified. It didn't go through any official declassification channels. It's like, okay, it was secret, but that's purposeful wording here, secretly. They can't put classified because it never was. So it was only secret because those involved on it just didn't tell about it until they were tasked to tell about it, right? Until 2017 when they found it convenient to use this card to play for distraction, for a bait and switch, limited hangout disclosure. That's what this is, okay? That's exactly why you're seeing it in WAPO, New York Times Futurism. I already know many of you out there are already questioning it. So they're trying to bring this out to the mainstream public, though. I mean, this is why it needs to be talked about and attention needs to be put on what they're trying to do here. They're bringing out these disclosures that, I mean, $22 million, that's a drop in the bucket compared to the hundreds of billions, trillions even, that are missing. They're not talking about the free energy and anti-gravity technologies that have been worked on in these block projects since the 40s or 50s. God, no, they're not going to tell about that. So there's so many things they're not telling. They're not even getting near the extraterrestrial component of it all yet and the cover-up associated with that. Plus the sciences they talk about. Warp drive, extra dimensions, black holes, wormholes, things like this. It's very mainstream science. And not just that, but this news story in that new documents released by the DIA reveal that the program studied a laundry list of topics. These aren't new documents. The new documents they're claiming are out is by the Federation of American Scientists, which is great, but the list of these programs, I mean, I've had 2 PDFs from these programs talking about these sciences on my desktop for 6 months. And that's the thing. It's not classified. It's not illegal for me to have them. They've been in the public domain for a long, long time. So there's a very specific reason why they are bringing this out to the mainstream right now. And I hope the Federation of American Scientists sort of knows a lot of the back-end stuff of this, right? I'm not assuming they do. I've seen some work from the Federation of American Scientists, and they've done good work. But I don't know if these scientists see the background of the names and organizations involved in disclosing this ATIP program, like John Podesta, Tom DeLonge, and how they're subverting the whole UFO disclosure. They're trying to suck it all up for themselves and ignore anybody else doing it. So anyway, a lot more to be said on that topic. I'm kind of ranting through it all here, but I'll do maybe a whiteboard video or go live and do an in-depth thing on it soon. And then very last thing I want to talk to you guys about in this video is CERN. So CERN is planning to build a much larger particle collider, much larger. This is going to be called the FCC, the Future Circular Collider, and it's going to use about 10 times as more power as the current LHC, Large Hadron Collider, that they're using right now. This press release came out a few days ago, and CERN, that organization of scientists, is saying that they want a giant new circle to smash some particles together with. And here's the thing, guys. Don't be scared. Don't be scared about this. The reason I say that is because I see a lot of fear porn out there about CERN, people thinking they're trying to create a black hole or crack into another dimension or do all these things with CERN. But you gotta understand that CERN is much like NASA in my eyes. CERN is a smokescreen. It's a total smokescreen. It's just there to muddy the waters and to scare you. And it's a very expensive program that's just making some scientists a few $1 billion, right? It's nothing. If you actually look at the sciences involved, they're still messing around with particle physics. They're not messing around with actual electromagnetic induction physics, torsion physics, right? Or the electric universe model. They're still messing around with particles. They're really not going to find too much out by still messing around trying to smash particles together. They should be looking at wave fields. CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, even this new super collider, it's all mainstream stuff. So it's the science is involved and what they're really doing. It's going to be all twisted and morphed and not the case. So it's nothing to be worried about. All it is a money grab by scientists still following the debunked standard model, the mainstream physics, and the good stuff, the good physics goes on elsewhere, goes on in other black projects far underground that you're not going to be hearing about on scientificamerican.com. So there you go, guys. That's my opinion on CERN, that new Large Hadron Collider, Super Collider, FCC thing. Nothing to be concerned about. There's my opinion on that ATIP, that secret UFO government program. Really wasn't secret. It's a big limited hangout disclosure they're trying to distract people with to completely subvert the truth community and confuse the mainstream populace. Just lots of backstory to that, lots of backstory. I'll get to that in future videos. We got vaccine news, GMO news, got that wall, I'm sure national emergency coming soon, and then a lot of hidden meanings out there. A lot of weird actions, weird antics being done by these deep staters, but it's fun to analyze it all. I'm waiting on Q, hope they get back to posting, but regardless, I'm back to posting. It's good to be home, good to be making videos again for you guys. Thanks for watching. Done with this one.